foundational models, Arun, there is a dilemma. There is a very central dilemma here in India where there is one school of thought which says, look, foundational models will rapidly become a commodity. There is no point building your own foundational models. Build off of them, fine-tune them, deploy them in specific ways. But the other school of thought is exactly the opposite. And we're actually expecting to see some announcements this week about, Indian foundational models. Your thoughts on that? Because both sides are, very staunchly against the other school of thought.
I think the reality is somewhere in between, and we're already living that. And first and foremost, I want to say a huge kudos to Sarvam and every other company that's actually building the models, right? So because building models, as many people who are talking about it, actually doing it is incredibly hard. Yeah. No matter what they are competing against. So let's just please give them a big round of applause. That's not something that is small to do, right? And the second thing is, there's no need to recreate a foundation model that already exists. Why bother spending all those hundreds of millions of dollars? Learn from that. And I might say something contrarian here, so apologize in advance. The country that actually did that was China. And they responded to not only the world's pressure, not just by saying they'll go after large compute or small compute, they went after algorithmic advances. And they did that in a very smart way, meaning they learned from every model that got published. And the open weight models are really not that interesting to me. What is more interesting is the research that they publish. And the research that they publish is not just MIT licensed. They publish how they got about the data sets, how they built the models, which really is what costs you hundreds of millions of dollars of researcher hours to do, which then you can stand on top of. Right? And that's another ask that we are trying to work here in the country in terms of all the 5 layers that Jay talked about, not just from energy production, but how do you optimize energy with AI, but going up the stack. Sovereignty in AI is not just about having a sovereign model. Yeah. It is having all 5 layers where you are infusing your own thing. And India is uniquely capable of building systems that only can be built in India, that the rest of the world can actually take advantage of. So UPI is a great example, lots of examples like that. Think about what algorithms, say, for example, the Indian Mathematical Institute can actually influence to go after languages that you talked about. And the notion of languages being disjoint and 19,000 dialects, in one side is massively challenging. On the other side is hugely influential because there are concepts that are common across almost all of those 19,000 dialects. Very few countries can say that, which means you can take language, something like Hindi, which has a lot of digital representation, and take a language like Bhojpuri, which doesn't have as much representation, and have a model that is almost near the same quality.